My mic messed up. No. I don't know why, but Windows key. It just keeps changing my default. I don't know why it does that. Every time. There we go. Oh shit, I'm at 1440p, aren't I? Oops. Whatever, it'll be fine. Man, I don't know how people. I don't know how people like just raw dog the internet. I don't know how people get like millions of views on a YouTube video or whatever, and just like deal with that. I kind of just miss uploading a video and not having anything happen. No, so the last few videos have done like weirdly well. I don't know why. I don't know if like the content has gotten better or it's just like, I don't know, a little lucky streak. But look at this. 6,000 views. 16,000 views of a stupid fucking repost. 400 is pretty good. And then this is at like 1,700. Something like that. Subscribers have been kind of crazy too. What else? None of these really did very well. I know this did pretty good. I forgot about that. This did well for some reason. I don't know. This did well. I remember, like, I don't know. Back in the day, I've had a couple YouTube channels here and there. Who hasn't? Right? I just feel like, every now and then you'd get like a video like this that hits like 1,000 views or something. And you go, wow, holy shit, that video did crazy. But I don't know, like it just feels like that has changed. Like now you are like almost guaranteed like 1,000 views. Like if you have a good video, you know. And you know if you have a good video, like you know if it's kind of a shitty video or if it's like something that people want to see. Like this was kind of interesting because this was one of the first. That was already 10 months ago. This is one of the like more recent laptops that had these like 8,000 series processors with like the newer graphics. What are these iGPUs? And I was like, damn, you can really play some games on this. But you can. I mean, like, look at this, 100 FPS in CS2. Ain't CS:GO. Let me tell you. What was this? This was like low, like 1200p or something. This is a good laptop. I liked this laptop. But I like my G14, my Asus G14 that I have. Dude, these laptop reviews, this was hard. Like, like the B-rolling. It was kind of cool though.
This right here is the Acer Aspire
Why am I yelling? I think you did pretty good though, honestly. This one I had my old glasses. These were fucking broken as shit.
And my particular model came with a laptop bag. And of course, you get the laptop. The design of this is obviously what makes it stand out. You have this unpainted recycled finish that's sort of textured all the way around with these little colored specks of plastic.
My audio levels are a little...
Acer even claims that the keycaps are made out of mostly recycled materials. And speaking of the keyboard, it's pretty good. It's got this nice initial firmness to it. Once it actuates, it's a really nice snappy actuation. The actual travel of the keys is pretty short, but that's because this is a pretty thin laptop. But the keyboard is definitely a win. As for the trackpad, it's actually a glass top surface with a built-in fingerprint sensor, and that works pretty well. I don't have any complaints.
I remember like getting all this B-roll. I'm like, god damn, this is a lot of work. Kind of amazing what you can do with like Shotcut though, you know, like a free, like this is all the editing you need to do is just
Standard size.
Jump cuts. Jump cuts, like having 2 audio tracks and then also maybe a couple video tracks. Dude, I suck with scripts though, man. Dude, I suck at it so bad. Like that is something that I don't know if I'd ever. But like obviously I had a script for that video. Dude, it took me like 20 minutes each time to try and like record that. Which that was a 6-minute video, by the way. So it took me 20 minutes to record each time. And I did it like 3 times because I kept just doing horrendous takes. I would stop recording and then I would go, wow, it is literally going to be more work to try and salvage that video than than to just re-record. That happens like all the time to me. I end up having to re-record like twice. Even with this video, I think I did it 3 times. I did it 3 times. Like I don't. Dude, I had one video one time where I had like it was on a different channel, and it was just bulletin points, like just like topic number 1, topic number 2, topic number 3, and it was on something that I could very like people were gonna get pissed at. Like I knew people were gonna get pissed. And I just didn't edit the video at all, or like think about the argument that I wanted to make, or like how the video would flow. And dude, it was bad. Like people, I mean, rightfully so, were like criticizing me, like, haha, bro, can't even form a coherent sentence. But what a lot of people don't realize is that it's not as easy as it would seem to just like put out a talking style YouTube video. That's kind of when like Daniel Owen or whatever, like people who just like on the cuff, on the fly, just sort of deliver information super easy, super clean. Dude, I don't know how they do it. I do not know how they do it. Like Daniel Owen. Is it Owen or Owens? Like, I don't even think there's any cuts in those videos. That's crazy. Like, I don't know how. I couldn't imagine. Could not imagine. But yeah, we're at 130 subscribers. Nice. Hey, thanks for 100 subs. Don't this channel's only been around for a year, and I already almost have more subscribers than my previous channel did. And that channel was like, dude, that channel was like, at this point, I don't even know. I think I started in like 2017 or something. When was my first stream on here? Tarkov. What was I watching? I don't even know. I do kind of miss the all of the like archived streams, if you will. I don't know. Let's talk a little more about this. Right? It's pretty important. Ask. The likes are pretty good though, honestly. Hold up. How do I... YouTube up next. I got +2 subscribers. How do I... not bad. I think it has like 3 dislikes, maybe like 4 or 5, which is not bad. But yeah, I'm really excited for this, honestly. And it's crazy. We still like have no idea what's gonna happen with this. We really don't. Like at this, I don't know. Like I'm still pretty convinced it'll be 600 plus, but I was actually looking at the die sizes, which I thought this was interesting. Let's see. RX 9070 XT die size. Which I think this is accurate. Where is it? It's 370 or 357 millimeter squared. Is it micrometer? 357. If you look at what did I do? I guess let's just do 7900 XTX. Dude, I've gone to tech power up so many times, it's crazy. Die size, this is a 529. This 529, this is 357. This is significantly less wafer space compared to the old XTX, which obviously these are going to be like similar. You know, maybe the XTX is a little bit faster in rasterization. And you know, obviously the die size, like how big does the actual graphics processing unit have to be? Because you know, this is all, I mean, this is most of the cost, right? Is right here. So the smaller the die, the cheaper the GPU is to make. And I find it interesting that it is quite small. I guess clock speeds is where they're getting it, huh? Because I was thinking like, okay, well, where are they getting this performance from? If, you know, if the 9070 XT is almost on par with the 7900 XTX, where are they getting this performance from? Because it's on the same... Oh, is it actually on a different... This is 4 nanometer and this is 5 nanometer? Okay. So that's one way, is that this is 5 nanometer, this is 4 nanometer. I actually didn't even realize that. So that is one thing that they got going. But then also, like this boost clock, and then some of the AIB cards were hitting like 3 gigahertz versus 2.3 or like okay 2.5 gigahertz, maybe. Like I think some of the other ones, the AIB cards did like 2.6. I can actually look. Imagine that. Yeah, 2.6. But then I guess that's not really relevant because if you're just comparing like base, stock boost clock to stock boost clock, like 2.5 versus like almost 3 plus 4 nanometer versus 5. So that's probably where they're getting it. But 4 nanometer is expensive from TSMC. That's something to consider. I was trying to look that up. I was trying to look up what, like, you can see that a wafer costs $18,000 or something like that. You get a wafer on TSMC 4 nanometer. However, I didn't look into it that hard, but I couldn't quite figure out how many of these dies you could make with one wafer, because I couldn't really find out how big is a wafer. But like I said, I didn't look that hard. I was just kind of like, this is interesting. And then plus 16 versus 24 gigs. So that saves money. On a slower bus, that saves money. Which I still think a lot of games aren't really super memory, VRAM speed dependent. Like, I don't really know how much performance increase we see from something like GDDR7 or GDDR6X versus 6. As long as you got enough of this stuff, which I would like to see a little more, but what are you gonna do, So that's interesting. It's interesting that they did 16 gigs. It almost kind of feels like they're like, yeah, we need to be aggressive. Cause I'm so sick of this already, but people just like $50, bro. Yeah, $50. Minus 50, dude. I'm so sick of seeing 5-0. But I kind of feel like AMD's strategy before was like same or a little bit better performance at, around $50 cheaper, depending on the card, but then also with more VRAM. And that was definitely true on the 7000 series. Like almost all the cards had more VRAM than their NVIDIA counterparts. But this time, it doesn't. That almost kind of feels like they were winding it up to be really aggressive on price. So like, I could see how it could be like sub 600, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. That's a trap that I think a lot of people are really falling into. Is that like it's 650 or 600. The 9070 XT is going to get really good reviews. And I mean, don't believe me? Just wait one day. I promise you, like Hardware Unbox, LTT, they'll all be, especially in this current market, they'll give it a good review. But people seem to be either just like they haven't kept up with the leaks, and even some of like AMD's own slides and stuff like that have, were supposed to release in January, but obviously it didn't happen. And they're expecting, like, they come in to the 9070 XT and they view it like, okay, my preconceived notion is that this card is going to be like this, this, and this. So therefore it needs to be this price. But in reality, they need to look a little bit deeper because their preconceived notion of what the card will be like is slightly different. It could be different, you know. And that's where I think a lot of this disparity between like what the price needs to be, quotation air quotes. So like a lot of people that are saying like 550 or 500, I literally just saw a person in the comments. I think it was this guy. Yeah, this guy. He is under the notion that the 9070 XT will have 0 ray tracing performance increase over the 7900 XTX, which is not true. He doesn't realize that he's saying that it will have literally 0 increase from generation to generation, because that is correct. The 7900 XTX had about a 4070 super level of ray tracing performance. But this new card, there's already been multiple leaks showing that the ray tracing performance is going to be the most improved part about the card, like by far. But also that it will probably be like within almost margin of error from like the 9070 XT versus the 5070 Ti. So like from this guy's perspective, right, because that ray tracing performance is so far behind, it can't be 600. But that's not true. Like AMD literally had a slide that was advertising plus 50% improvement in ray tracing over the previous generation. So like you got to pay attention to that, you know. I can see it now. I really can. I can see that people have it sort of locked in their heads that this card is either going to be 500 or 550. Maybe not that. That's not the right way of phrasing it. Like they definitely, a lot of people don't think like it's 100% $500 or $550. But I feel like a lot of people are already gearing up to like riot if it isn't that price, you know, without having the full picture of the performance and like the features, especially, you know. Something that kind of makes it a little less likely that it will be sub 600 is AMD has allegedly diminished a lot of the advantages or a lot of the complaints that people had that would, you know, would stop people from buying an AMD card. So FSR 4, which we got a little sneak peek of at CES, looks quite good. It looks at the very least way better than FSR 3.1. Way better. Like, because I'm not going to lie, FSR 3.1 before, or really any version of FSR, I think I used it like once. At 1440p, it's not great. But FSR 4.0 is finally going to be like an AI solution, like a true AI upscaler, because it's not, right now, they're saying it's not going to be backwards compatible with the older cards because they don't have the hardware for it. So, you know, like how DLSS isn't available on a 10 series card or like a 1080 Ti or whatever. It would be a similar way. So they're using similar technology there. And, you know, they got the much better ray tracing performance. So that could be like boosting AMD's confidence a little bit to kind of say, hey, you know, we've addressed your guys' complaints about ray tracing, about upscaling, and, you know, we're still beating them on price and performance. we think this should be good. That's like another way of looking at it too, why it might not be sub 600. But I mean, we don't know. Like it feels like it's been a while in sort of like the GPU space at least, where there's like just so many question marks, you know? It's kind of fun, honestly. It's definitely exciting, you know? Because I don't know. The 50 series wasn't really that exciting. I think the leaks started to come out for that, for the 50 series, and we were like, oh, okay. And then by the time the 5080 and the 5090 released, we could already sort of assume that those cards were not going to be some sort of crazy uplift. Which, spoiler, they weren't. Across the board, like, what, 15% improvement, which is just not the best in the world. Not the best that we've seen. But honestly, I think I will have to wait for benchmarks too, because I'm not just gonna blind sell my current GPU. But I think I will be getting one of these, a 9070, even if it's 650, because for me, like, it's fine. I promise. I mean, if that's okay, if that price is not okay with you, 650 is not okay with you, well, there's this great news. You don't have to purchase it. But for me, I think it'll definitely be at least 650. I don't think they're gonna do the 699. I know the Micro Center prices leaked, but those are definitely placeholder prices. Definitely. Because I'm really curious about FSR 4. Hopefully they get a chance, like reviewers get a chance to test that stuff. And I am really curious about the ray tracing too, like the exact numbers. Like, I'm pretty confident that it's going to be, like I said before, almost margin of error style from the 5070 Ti. But I am very curious to see, like, exact independently tested numbers. I'm pretty curious. Oh god. But I'm probably gonna sell my 5080. Honestly, I waited in line for this card for an RTX 5080 for like 18 hours. And honestly, I don't know. Honestly, it's kind of a me problem. It's not you 5080, it's me. I really don't play that many games. Like, I kind of just was like, oh, I don't know, I want a new GPU, so I just kind of bought one. So, especially considering the market for these cards on hardware r/hardware swap, it's crazy. If you post one of these for sale for $1,500, like, you get 7 people just PM. People instantly jump on that. And honestly, depending on the model, you can push like $1,700 for a fucking 5080. That is ridiculous, people. Like, come on. Like, just wait a little bit. I promise you, you do not need that 15% uplift over the 4080 that badly. I promise you. It's crazy. So, I mean, basically look at it this way, right? Because this was what I was doing. So if I could sell my 5080 for $1,500, because it is open box, it's not new in box, obviously, because I intended to keep this card, but you never know. So 1,500 minus like 3% PayPal fees, minus like $30 to ship the card. So I'd be at 1425 ish. I bought the card for after tax included. It was like 1220 or something. I mean, that's $200. That's not an insignificant amount of money. I mean, that's 20% of the MSRP of, you know, the card itself. And I mean, $200 would be, even if this was 650, right? If the 9070 XT was 650, I mean, $200 is a lot more than 20% of that MSRP. So it's just, and normally, you know, the more you pay, the more you get, right? That makes sense. But because the 5080 was such like a mediocre performance bump from the 4080, like, literally, look at this. So, fuck it, even just say it's a 5070 Ti, it's 10% different. There's a 10% difference from a 5070 Ti slash, you know, 9070, because that's the performance it'll be at. For what? For like double the price after an AIB gets a hold of you, you know, after you buy, because 5080s are also hard to find in MSRP. It's like, why am I gonna pay that? I would rather just make a couple of bucks off of the 5080 and take the 10-15% performance hit. Like, it just seems like a no-brainer to me. Honestly. It really does. It's just crazy. That's sort of like, I feel like that's already sort of fading into people's, like, the back of people's minds, just how bad the 4080 to the 5080 was. Like, that's nothing, man. That's nothing. Seriously, look at this. If you go to the 3080, right? Let's look at how the 3080 compared to the 4080. So, 3080 is 100%. An RTX 4080 is 50% faster. 50% faster in this. And this tech power up is usually a little bit high, but that doesn't really matter because, like, it's all a direct comparison. Like, all of these cards are tested in the same way. So fuck it, even call it a 40% improvement. This card was expensive when it came out, but it was a 50% improvement. Or 40%, we know, whatever. It's a lot more than fucking 12, which is what the 4080 to the 5080 was. Now let's go look at the 2080. So the 2080, right, to the 3080 was a fucking 63% jump. Like, what? Do you see how, like, insane this is? To be getting a sub 20% uplift? That's insane. It's wild. It's absolutely, like, unheard of. Like, that's why the 9070 is in such, like, a weird spot. Because I literally saw people saying this. AMD said that it's going to be a mid-range card. You're stupid for thinking that it's going to be anywhere near a 4080 let alone a 5080. You're stupid to think that. That's not a mid-range card. Well, when you have such ass performance gains from generation to generation on the Nvidia side, that's just how it happens to be. It just happens to be at the 5080 because the 5080 it didn't get any much faster than the 4080. And in the past, how it's supposed to be is the old graphics card is slower than the new graphics card. I know that's tough to wrap your head around, because Nvidia doesn't fucking want you to believe that. But yeah, it should be no surprise that a 70 class card, the 9070 XT, would beat the 80 series card, which was the 7900 XTX, or at least be on par. That makes sense, because that is how it's supposed to be. Not supposed to be stagnant forever. It's crazy, man. Like, people are just like, what is going on? Like, come on. Like, look, the RTX 2080. If we go back to a 2080 Ti, like, it was faster than the Ti card. If we go to something a little more recent, like this, for example, an RTX 3070 was faster than even the Ti variant, the 2080 Ti, by a decent little bit. The 2080 is all the way down here. So it was literally 26% faster at a cheaper price. That's how it's supposed to be. But in the current world, it's not like that. So, yeah. I mean, the old 70 card is on par with the 80 class card. Or no, this isn't even the 70. This is the 70 Ti. Was that... Let's see. Yeah. The Ti, the 3070 Ti was even faster. So that would be, you know, in a perfect world where Nvidia wasn't so concerned about their stock prices, you know, a 5070 would be as fast as a 4080, you know, or at least really close to it. But the 5070 is slotted to not even beat a Ti Super. It'll be like on par with a 4070 Super, which is just, ugh. With 12 gigs of VRAM. Eee. I did have actually some good oh. Yeah, I mean, this is sort of a narcissistic taste, but who is this guy? I don't know. But yeah, I kinda, yeah. Little Debbie Downer. But yeah, that's kind of the thing that's holding me back personally from saying, yeah, let's go 500, 550, yeah, let's go. Is I have a hard time believing that it's going to be XTX performance, 4080 performance, half price. That did happen. So we were just talking about, like, in the past, stuff like that did happen. But you'd have to scroll a little bit further back to, like, these days. Back in the, you know, 700 series, 900 series, stuff like that did happen from time to time. But nowadays, I don't think so. So, yeah. Like the devil and angel on each shoulder. On one shoulder, it's this guy thinking like, no way in hell they gonna give you the same performance as the previous gen flagship for half the price. And on the other shoulder, it's like, well, but maybe. You know, if you look at this and this and that, a little bit of this, it might happen. So, yeah. I think it'll be lower than this. But, this was a crazy comment. I don't know how the hell. Like, dude, you literally are flanked by people on both sides of your comment saying that it needs to be under 600. I don't know how, like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, this guy says 550 is ideal. This guy says 550 is ideal. Like, I don't know how nobody thought it would be under 600. If you say so, hey man, you do you. That's something that I should have made a little bit clearer. I did mention this in this video, but I should have made a bigger point out of it. I think I made it like somewhere right here or something. It is probably like the biggest thing in the back of my mind. I don't know. I've never, as long as I've lived, like, you know, that hasn't happened. As long as I've been paying attention to computer hardware, which is probably since, honestly, it's probably kind of, I don't know, maybe like the RX 480 or something, maybe the 20 series. It's weird. I go through like spurts. Like back in the 10 series days, I like after everything had released, you know, I knew I was pretty well versed in that type of knowledge on that generation. But I don't really remember much about the 20 series. I just kind of wasn't paying attention to it. The 30 series I paid a pretty good amount of attention to. 40 series I paid almost zero attention to. But the 50 series and like these new AMD cards I'm paying very close attention to. I don't know why. It's just how I am. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm just glad there's something to talk about, you know? Even if people are kind of fucking at each other's throats about it. Which, welcome to the modern internet, I guess. What aren't people at each other's throats about? Am I right? 1,700 views exactly? I don't believe. Yeah, 05? A lot of comments. I will say that. How many? 56? Damn. Oh, that's 56 with replies, though. I don't know how that works in the algorithm. I don't know if, like, replies other people contribute to. Because you can almost feel it. Like, when people are commenting on your video, you can almost feel the algorithm, like, recommending your video. And you can almost predict how a video will do based on how many people like even if it gets a couple of comments, usually that's a pretty, and you're like your watch time, your viewer retention is decent. Like you can almost be certain that it will get recommended, and what happens from there is kind of anyone's guess. But some videos it just gets like an initial 50 views and then it does nothing. I feel like the algorithm has gotten more consistent. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being crazy. Who knows? Gotta finish this for bed. Oh god.
ペラペラ。この本は薄くてペラペラですね。
I've been doing so bad with my Japanese lately.
膨れる。お腹が膨れたら眠くなった。
Definitely been in a slump.
特色。その学校の教育は特色がありますね。
トム。彼の人生は変化に富んでいるな。
名付ける。
名付ける。子猫にトラと名付けました。
やり直し。仕事がやり直しになった。
成り立つ。この島は観光で成り立っています。
I really gotta start immersing again. Like I have not watched anything in Japanese in far too long. And I'm stupid because there's no point in doing this if I don't like get more exposure to the language. Like it doesn't like there's almost no point. I don't know, I'm just being stupid as usual.
Wagaya. ぜひ我が家に遊びに来てください。
That is a goofy ass word. Wagaya. Wagaya. Like I knew what it meant, but I had no idea how to read that.
ピカピカ。新車はピカピカですね。総数。参加者の総数は705人でした。
I don't know. What is I don't know.
相互。チームの中では相互の信頼が大切です。
場合、わからない場合は私に聞いてください。
有望。彼は有望な社員
I
で
hate
す。
this word. Dude, certain words at least for me, I just can't. It's just either the kanji doesn't look like how it's pronounced, or I don't know, something about the way it's pronounced is hard for me to memorize. Sort of the makeup of what characters are representing the kanji. I don't know. But this is one of them.
有望。我が家。ぜひ我が家に遊びに来てください。
It's right there.
抗議。彼の発言に対してたくさんの抗議が
I
あっ
had
た
like the
よ。
word lecture in my mind, but no, it's protest.
彼の発言に対してたくさんの抗議があったよ。
You know, these live streams have been doing a lot better too. Which I honestly, I really don't like. I like just talking into the void.
採用。その会社は女性を多く採用している。
Man. Nende.
年齢。彼女の年齢は27です。
I swear this is not a new word.
準備。明日の会議の準備をした。
方角。私と彼は帰る方角が同じです。
I'll redo that one. I kind of know. I like half got that, but I should redo it. Ogaku.
雨天。試合は雨天中止です。
Hatsuon.
発音。この単語を発音してください。
Imagine Japanese without kanji. Shit would be 10 times easier.
汗。彼は額に汗をかいていたの。
I was thinking about this yesterday, or not yesterday, it was like a while ago. But I read a sentence in Spanish. I don't know Spanish, but I could still like almost get the meaning of this sentence. Now, of course, that's just because like the words in that sentence just happen to be sort of similar to the words in English. But it really made me think, wow, I could probably learn Spanish in like 6 months. Like 6 months with the same effort that I'm doing this Japanese at. Like the difference in effort required from almost any sort of other kind of loosely Latin-based language versus an Asian language like Japanese. Oh my god, for an English speaker to learn, I should say. Jesus. It is crazy.
日程。試験の日程が発表されました。
Because there's so many compounding hurdles that you have to overcome with learning a language like this. You have to, number one, grammar is completely backwards. Sentence structure is completely backwards. Like this says, exam no schedule announcement was. That is very backwards. And then you have to remember basically 3 different writing ways of writing this language. Hiragana, kanji, and then katakana. Oh my god. It's tough out here.
年齢。彼女の年齢は27です。
The only thing that is easier is the pronunciation, in my opinion.
恋愛。彼女は恋愛に憧れる年頃です。
You want to impress your friends? Take like 3 days to learn how to pronounce these characters, like the Japanese alphabet, and you will be able to read and sound out any Japanese word. Any Japanese word.
恋愛。リズム。最近彼は生活のリズムが乱れています。
it is so nice to be able to sort of like have heard a word before, but you're not like exactly sure what it means, and you can just type it in to Google and it comes up. You don't have to like guess how to spell it in English.
びしょびしょ。服が雨でびしょびしょになったよ。
Because I think we all know that English makes zero sense when it comes to pronouncing words. Like sometimes it's consistent, other times it's not. Half the times the word is not spelled phonetically or said phonetically at all.
埋める。庭に穴を掘って、それを埋めました。
The point where like a lot of English speakers struggle with spelling words. It's basically in English, you just have to remember every single word and how to spell it on a word per word basis and how to pronounce it on a word per word basis. There's not really like set rules almost to sound things out. Like you can try and sometimes it'll, like a decent amount of times it'll work. But a decent amount of times it will not work if you try and sound out a word that you just see for the first time, especially if you're just learning English.
作物。米はアジアでは大切な作物だ。
So that does not happen in this language, thankfully. I don't have to worry about spelling. Or trying to like see this and like what is it? Like how do I read that? This always means sa. This always means ku. This always means mo. This always means tsu. Every time. So if you combine them all, you get the word crop. Sakumotsu.
恋愛。彼女は恋愛に憧れる年頃です。
Nenai.
恋愛。
However, there are like 10 million ways to say the same word. There's like 5 different ways to say love. Oh, it gets crazy sometimes. Nenai.
恋愛。
Inomamari.
身の回り。身の回りのお世話は私がします。
Yokubo.
欲望。彼は欲望が強い人です。恋愛。彼女は恋愛に憧れる年頃です。
You know what? Now that I'm saying that word, I think I actually have heard that before. Before.
成り立つ。この島は観光で成り立っています。
Sogo.
相互。チームの中では相互の信頼が大切です。
Oh, god damn it. It means... What does it mean? Promising, right? You I don't know how to say it. I forget. Yobo?
有望。
Yubo.
彼は有望な社員です。
I did get the meaning correct though. Wagaya.
我が家。ぜひ我が家に遊びに来てください。
抗議。彼の発言に対してたくさんの抗議があったよ。
Ah shit, this was Sayo, but what does that mean?
採用。その会社は女性を多く採用している。方角。私と彼は帰る方角が同じです。年齢。彼女の年齢は 27です。
恋愛。恋愛。
恋愛。彼女は恋愛に憧れる年頃です。採用。
Let's go. Any new comments? I don't think so. Yeah, I mean that's about it for tonight though. I better go to bed. Better go to bed. Tomorrow's the day that I finally get to maybe tell a lot of people I told you so. I don't know. When do I don't think we when do like independent hold on, let's see. Hold on, I'm curious. I don't know if we know this. When Oh. Oh, really? It is one day? That fucking sucks. I was hoping that because there was a decent little amount of time between the announcement and the release that we'd get a good amount of time sort of test the cards. Nope. One day, huh? Anyone even really looking forward to the 50/70 reviews? Like, I don't I wouldn't really. So it's tomorrow's the announcement. Technically tomorrow. Today's tomorrow. And then March 5th is when the review out for. Okay. Well, that kind of sucks. But I mean, the big thing is pricing anyways. It's not like we don't really know the performance. It's the price that we want to know.